Well, still mucking around with the old Falcon, guys. Yeah, this is part 3. I've just been doing a bit of work in the back there. I just patched up a little bit in this sill. Just cut a section out that was rusty. I've ordered new sills for it, which I'll put on. But there was just a bit of a bad section in there, so I've just cut out a piece, welded in, as you can see, ground it back. You don't see that side, and the underneath, you can sort of see up in there. Looks like that. That's all. I've got to get the pressure washer out. It's all dirt and mud and shit. But we'll do all that. And I've got a little bit, I've got to make up a panel for there, which will sort of marry in with the sill. So once I get that profile, I'll be able to cut that. So that come up all right. Yeah, that'll be okay. That's quite solid. And the paint's not dry. Just stuffing around. As you remember in the last video, I did that section. That's better. Did that section, and after mucking around a bit, this is all pretty crappy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a piece out of there and cut that. That's basically, that profile's pretty flat, just maybe with a slight bend in it, you know, for there. And then stitch that in, and that'll get rid of that. And then that's, you know, that'll be looking pretty good. I think all this is quite structurally all right. Yeah, and then I want to get in and blast under the guards and tar them all and all of that. Anyway, you've seen all that sort of stuff. But so that's our next little sort of project. And I'll show you, well, how I'm going to go about it. And yeah, that's probably totally the wrong way. But anyway, it is what it is. Well, as I mentioned, guys, I do want to do the sills on, well, both sides. As I say, I've ordered them. Retro Spares in Melbourne seem to have a fair bit of stuff, and they're really helpful blokes. But looking at it, I'm going to have to, I don't know how far up the sill panel comes, could be there. I don't think that curved section is, I could be wrong. But to get in there, I'm going to have to pull the guards. So what I'm going to concentrate on tomorrow is get the bonnet off, get the guards off. That way I can get in at that sort of, that area in there and have a look and see what's got to be done. But yeah, I'll have to sort of have access around that to do the sills. Guards I think are pretty straightforward. Row of bolts down there. Probably have to pull the grille, headlights, bumper, then probably bolts in behind there. It's all got to come off at some stage, so it might as well be now. I'll pull the bonnet. And they can just be basically cleaned up and go into storage. As I say, it's, you know, there's no, a little bit of filler there, but I reckon I'll be able to get on the other side and just beat that out, and it'll be like that other quarter. But yeah, at some point these panels have got to come off. I think it's now is the time. Yeah, just so I can get in and address that area. Yeah, and as I say, I've got to do that little curved piece there. Yeah, so we'll concentrate on that tomorrow, but I mean, the bonnet's pretty straightforward. 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts. I'll leave the hinges in place, I think. That's easy. Yeah, all of them. As I was saying the other day, I've been mucking around with the sander. Yeah, so I think tomorrow we'll concentrate at pulling the front off. And if there's any rust areas in there, we can get in there and fix all that properly. And because I want the repairs to be, you know, I don't want fucking dodgy repairs and all that shit. It's not going to look $1 million, but I don't want the repairs to be dodgy. Yeah, and as I say, once bodywork's done in about 6 months, we can start playing with the mechanicals. And look, these Falcons, I mean, if you can't work on one of these, then you can't work on anything. And the Holdens are the same. They're real easy to work on mechanically, so good car to learn on. Well, bonnet's pretty easy to take off, guys. Just 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts. We'll lift her up now and we'll undo the bumper irons and that. Got a couple of wires for the indicators and that. Probably just cut them because all that wiring's getting changed anyway. So yeah, bumper off, grill out, headlights out, and that should let me get at the inner bolts for the guards. And yeah, it's just sort of, yeah, disassembly. 4 bolts and the on a couple of wires, and the bumper comes off. I know the chin panel's a bit crappy and we can straighten that, but it doesn't appear to have ever been bashed in. yeah, most of the panels and that seem straight. I mean, the paint's ugly and shitty, we know all that. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad, as we can square that up, dress that up. Yeah, no, it'll all fall into place. We'll take these surrounds off now and have a look at the grill. They're really good, the surrounds. I mean, you could probably find them, but I hate to think what you'd pay. I may have to put 2 headlights. See, they're pretty stone chipped and that. No big deal. It'd be nice to use the original Lucas ones, but I'll hang on to them. Well, like I said before, if you can't work on one of these, you can't work on anything. Grill comes off pretty easy, guys. Couple of locating screws there. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, camera work. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, and that's the grill out. Next, we'll pop those headlight assemblies out, and because there's a row of bolts around there for the front of the guard. So yeah, so those, I'd say those headlights have to come out at this point. We'll have a bit of a closer look. Well, when do you reckon was the last time that someone cleaned behind these headlights? Yeah, it's incredible what nature's little animals will do. Well, they'll bloody well get in anywhere, won't they? But same as this one. If you've never removed this sort of headlight, they're really easy. 1, 2, 3. Don't loosen them. They're actually for adjustment. All you do, see how these holes are slotted? You just push in and rotate till you get to the big bit, and the headlight assembly just falls out. You don't have to undo these little screws and all that crap. Just push in and turn, and they'll come straight out. They're childishly simple. Look at that, guys. Probably straight out of 1963 from the factory. Used genuine Lucas bulbs, and there's all sorts of bits and pieces there about probably what bulb to use. 12 volt, 24 volt. Yeah, the buckets need a bit of clean up, but that's all right, no big deal. I mean, Christ, it's just, you know, as I've said with this car from the start, it's all about bloody cleaning up and detail and mechanical fixing. But, I mean, if you want to root around with a 60-year-old car, you've got to expect that sort of thing. On this chin panel, guys, there's 1, 2, 3 bolts holding that to the guard, and the same on the other side. They did not want to undo, not a hope in hell. Fair dinkum bastard. So what we do is we get out the old plasma cutter, get ourselves a good earth, and go berserk. But just watch, sparks and shit go everywhere, but that soon blows a bolt away. Chin panels off, guys. Yeah, as I say, once we cut those out, it's just 1, 2, 3, and the panel come off. Just undone those lower straps for the guards. Yeah, so we've got them, the ones across the top, and I'm pretty sure if you go in through the gap in the door, there's a couple of bolts in there as well. Well, guys, when you buy an old car like this, you hope for the best and expect the worst. We knew we had to do the sills. This in here, look, that's 60 years of jazz. That looks worse than it actually is. That's just a matter of cutting a piece and doing that and treating the inside. It's not too bad. Similarly, we're doing the sills. So most of this structurally is all right. It looks crappy, but it's actually all right. It's just surface rust. So tomorrow, because I ran out of time today, we'll push this outside, we'll pressure blast a whole lot. But all here's good. Now, when you're taking these guards off on these old Falcons, there's 1 and there's 2 that you get through in the inside kick panels, which I knew, but unfortunately the whole damn thing was turning. So basically I had to get a little bit rough and just tear the guard off because they weren't going to come. But that's an easy fix. We just weld a captive bolt when we reassemble this, and that's, you know, that's no huge drama. Similarly to that one. All the fronts off, as you know. Similar to this side, really, not so bad. See, there's that captive bolt there. As I say, we can mimic that piece without too much trouble, I reckon. This is all structurally good. There's the other captive bolt. You get them through those holes as a plug. see, that's not too bad. That's quite savable. I don't know what the hell they've put there anyway. Oh, that's that self-tapping bolt they had, yeah. So, yeah, it looks ugly, but it's not actually that bad. All this inside here is all good. That'll be just cleaned up, and that tar shit, this will be just basically cleaned up, treated, and that's pretty much the paint as you see it right there. Similarly there. Yeah, as I say, we're not going berserk on paint on this thing. Guards are around the back there. They're not, the guards are pretty right. I've got to do a little bit of work on this section of the guard. But yeah, look at that shit. Look, I wonder what's living in there. But yeah, we can get right in there, treat all that part of the body, and that'll make it easier to finish off the sills. And that's pretty much the worst of the rust done. That won't be that bad. I've got sill panels coming, and that's just a bit of fabrication. We expected this. I didn't expect to buy a 60-year-old car and not have to do a heap of work. Well, guys, we give this the treatment with the rip-off and the pressure cleaner, and yeah, come up, or I mean, it doesn't fix the rust, obviously, but taken off 60 years of dirt and that, cleaned up pretty well. The inner guards and all that, someone at some points put this red oxide, whatever it is, on it, and pretty thick stuff. It's protected it. Yeah, I reckon it's been its saving grace. Plus that, and it come from a dry area. And I don't mean alcohol, I mean water. Yeah, I mean a little bit of surface rust, but there's nothing particular, a little bit there. Or maybe I'm imagining things, but yeah, I'll clean up all in there properly once all the suspension's out. That's all got to come out. But yeah, it pressure washed up pretty good. As I say, most of this isn't even get painted, it just get rubbed back, except for that. But yeah, it's all quite solid under the front here. Yeah, it looks all right. I don't know if I told you, there's that nut up top there that's captive. That actually broke when I was undoing it, so I've got to weld a little nut in there somehow. No huge big deal. But all the rest of this, the cabin and that's all pretty bloody good. Anyway, what we're going to do now is go back to where we were, because we started on the sills, as you know. What I'm going to try and do today is cut this out and weld a piece in, just to get rid of that bit of rust there. And yeah, we've done that bit down there, as you know, so yeah, we'll keep going. Well, that's that piece cut out, guys, with the rust. That'll be all right there. It saves a little piece if you can get it in one bit, because it'll sort of act as a bit of a template. I'm going to go and cut a bit of steel now, cut that out, and start test fitting it. Well, that's our piece, guys. There's a little bit of gap there for penetration, bit much there, but we'll build it with weld. Yeah, it didn't come up too bad. Just take your time on the grinder and just piece by piece until it just sits in nice. A little bit low there. I'll just pop that out a bit. But yeah, that's basically it. So what we'll do is we'll put a couple of tacks. Make sure your area's clean. It's one thing I've learned about welding. If the metal's not bloody clean, you can fuck around no end with it. But if it's clean, generally I have a lot more success. Don't know if it's right or wrong. I think it is. I do about an inch or, 30 mil, whatever. Let it cool. Because I think, otherwise, I think they say too much heat and it'll warp all the panel. And I wouldn't have a clue how to put it back, even if it's possible, I wouldn't know. So just bit by bit by bit, let it cool. And yeah, then we grind it all back, and hopefully it'll come up looking something like that. Well, that's about the repair done, guys. A little bit low there, like I thought I would be. Just one or two little low spots, a tiny little bit of filler. And we'll be right. So we'll bung that on, but the rest of it's all, Christ, it's, like I say, I'm no panel beater, but it's not bad, it'll pass. We'll get back into this area, guys. This is left-hand rear quarter. Yeah, just that was a bit rusty and crappy in there. So I'm going to make a piece that goes like that. and then I'll have to try and sort of rough in a profile there. But yeah, and that'll cover that whole section in, weld it in, tar it off, and camera work. And yeah, that'll be starting to look pretty good. The other side's okay. Well, that's our piecing, guys. Yeah, weld there, down the back, so on and so on. That's got to be trimmed off a little bit better. Don't know how I'm going to go welding in there. We'll do what we can. But yeah, a little bit of bloody fiberglass in there and that'll be right. But structurally, that'll be fine. Well, that's that repair pretty much done, guys. All welded, ground back. Old fiberglass up in there, as I mentioned. We'll just rub this back and see how we went with this, and put a little bit of paint on it before Mother Nature starts taking control. And put a bit of black on that and up in there, and just don't know about that profile yet. That may have to be trimmed, but yeah, all good. Something different today, guys, because it's about bloody 37 or whatever the hell it is out there. Too hot to be bloody grinding and welding and all that crap. So just going to play around with this nose panel a bit. Just take some of the fittings. I've already sort of mucked and put a new rubbers on those, or one of them that I had in stock. Just going to sort of clean up that front panel, tidy it up. I'll pull the radiator, take some of these bolts out for the regulator and that, and just have a quick tidy up around the front there, just for something different. It's too, as I say, it's too hot to be mucking about with welding and all that crap. Well, we're seeing that back, guys. Treated the rust and put some of that penetrol on it. Now that's supposed to make paint stick to anything. It's all supposed. What does it do? Hang on, let me go and have a look. I'll show you the can. Just got it from Bunnings. Penetrol. Penetrating primer oil, makes paint stick to almost anything. It's supposed to help with rust. Yeah, saturate a rusted surface with penetrol until a shiny appearance. When dry, continue with any good quality terps. Yeah, so on and so on. But it's supposed to really help with a bit of rust in that. So I'm hoping it'll dry and it'll maintain that bit of a shine, and then we just leave it how it is. Someone painted over the original hood rod over here and hood rod under here stickers. So I'm going to leave them because they're factory. Anyway, we'll see what happens. A little bit at the front, a little bit at the back. Yeah, just whatever floats me boat on the day. Yeah, that's that quarter done. Not bad. I mean, look, that's got rid of all the rust and that. Yeah, a little bit of patina there. Still got to do all the rest of that, but yeah, that sure looks more acceptable than bloody rust. Well, that's that back quarter done. Yeah, that come up all right. Yeah, as I say, a bit more patina work to do there. As usual, I'm chopping and changing. I've sort of done the front with that penetrol, put that centre brace back in. I just give that a real light sandblast. I didn't go crazy on it. Just buffed these couple of pieces. And yeah, just once again, penetrol the whole lot. I'm hoping that'll sort of dry and protect it. But yeah, it's sort of, yeah, it's, you know, it's, I could have painted it, but it's going off the drift of the patina. So it's only a few select components will be getting painted. But yeah, hopefully that shit'll dry and it'll be fairly solid. So what I'm doing now is doing these inner guard panels. Now, obviously that needs work. I'll try and cut a piece out and weld it in. It's pretty sad, but it's savable. Don't know where I'm going to get another one. Probably could get it, but yeah, we'll clean it up. Tidy all that up. And treat it all, and yeah, we're sort of, you know, slowly but surely, what do they say, how do you eat an elephant? One piece at a time. Well, that's our little rust repair there. rightly or wrongly, I just filled it up with a bit of MIG. It seemed to take all right. I mean, I'll put some tar and shit on it, but and you don't see it anyway. But we don't want it getting any worse. Having said that, well, we just cleaned up this inner guard. Just give it a quick bit of a sandblast. It didn't go crazy. That's not what the car's about. I mainly just wanted the rust off it. And there's our new piece to weld in there. It's as thin as you like. I don't know how it's going to go. It'll just be, just touches with the MIG. But anyway, it's, I've got to do something with it. And I'll buy some new rubber to put along that edge. And that seals up when you bolt that back in. And that sits along there. The rubber actually stops, mud and dust and shit, road grime, whatever, coming up and going in to that section there. So I'll put the rubber back. And similarly, this strip around there's got rubber on it too. I may put a bit around that anyway. Not that I intend doing a hell of a lot of bloody, mud bashing or whatever in this thing, but yeah, we'll put it back anyway. Doing a bit of a rust repair on this, guys. There's a bit of a hole there, and of course that section was pretty bad. Put a new piece in there. I'll put a strengthening rib down there. Pardon me, just dying here. Made that piece and curved it around, and I've just made that piece there sort of two curves. What do you call them? A compound curve, whatever it is. Anyway, I've come up with this, and that will fit sort of in there like that. Weld it in, and that's pretty close to the original. There's a hole at the bottom where my thumb is, but I can just patch that up with a little bit of flat, and that'll be fine. Damn sight better than what come off it, which is that. So that piece is basically doing that. Yeah, it's going to be all right. As I say, it's got a patch in the floor to put in there. That needs more work. Still waiting on the sills. But yeah, that come up all right. So treated all the rust, cut it all out, and yeah, if nothing else, I'm starting to learn how to do rust repairs. Well, there it is, guys. That's the repaired section. Two pieces to sort of simulate that curve. It's not perfect, but geez, it's pretty bloody close. We'll just put some tar on it now. Drilled a hole in there. That's where that other bolt hole goes for the guard. So I'll have to sort of weld a captive bolt into the guard, and hopefully it'll all line up through there. Bit of tar, then we can put that moulding back on, and yeah, that's basically that side done. Oh, except for the floor pan, but I'll do that. I've got to get inside, so I'll have to let it down on the ground, but that come up all right. Screwing around with a bit of rubber here, guys. On the inside of the guards, obviously, they have this to stop the mud and dirt and shit getting up into probably components up around here. They also have one across the back. So I've cut a piece of rubber, and that'll just sit on like so. Now, these are originally stapled. Now, I haven't got any sort of a stapler that's going to go straight through steel. So what the plan is just use some of these rivets, and they've got quite a wide head, so they'll help sort of grip the rubber, and just put a row of them down that edge, and that'll sort of stop any dirt coming up from here going past and getting into there. Probably stop a little bit of wind noise maybe, but it's once again, and it sort of looks original. So yeah, so that's all right. That's easy enough. Just bloody cut it. Just got a hole punch. Treated, I know it looks like shit, treated it all for rust all in there, and that'll be just black, the same as that. And yeah, that just looks a little bit more factory. So and the rubber wasn't overly expensive. I think for about a metre by about 1,200, whatever it is, it was about $40. Pretty pricey, but it is what it is. This is the driver's side guard, guys. This is the one I had to, because those captive bolts wouldn't come out, they were just spinning, I virtually had to tear that off. So I've got to, having done that, I've got to remake this lower section. Now that sits there like that and joins up in there. So what I'm going to do is I'll make up a flat piece that sort of comes up and curves at the end, and then I can just run a piece of flat on that side and weld the whole lot together. But I need that as my template for a location for the hole, as you can see. This end's still all right. I panel beaded that back flat, so that's okay. So you've just got to rework this, and I had to anyway because it was rusty. That's half the reason why it come off. Yeah, so that'll be easy enough to fix up. We'll do something with that. I've also welded in, I think I told you, that captive nut in there was just spinning around, so I've just welded a nut in there. I just peened down the hole so there's a bit more weld. Ran the tap through it, and that should be pretty good. So, oh, and that's that rubber for the inside guard. That's done. Just riveted that on, as you can see. Yeah, so just sort of working away. I'm still waiting on those sill panels. I don't think I'll see them before Christmas. They may come Monday or Tuesday, but Wednesday's Christmas Day, so doesn't matter. If not, I'll get them next year. You know, it's not like it's nearly finished and I'm waiting on them. So yeah. So anyway, let's get around to seeing if we can fabricate a piece for that. Well, the thing with panel work, guys, is you don't need to be a good welder. You need to be a good grinder. That's that patch in there. Quite solid. The bolts line up with a bit of a push and a shove. That's ugly, I know. I could weld a bit there, but oh, what's the point? You don't see any of that. That just needs to be treated, and yeah, that can be painted. We've got to clean up in there. There's a couple of welds up that top end that have got to be done. Other than that, that guard can be sort of prepared and patinaed, really. It's just about done. That was the hard bit, and it seems to be all right. So yeah, we'll go with that. Present time, guys. Christmas Eve. Got me two new replacement sill panels. The profile is slightly different there. That needs to be more of a curve. Same as that one, obviously they're the same. I don't think there's a left and right on these, and they're probably, you know, 200 longer than they need to be, but that's all right. That's fine. We can trim it down. This is a full one. I thought I was only getting a half one, but it's a full one, because that goes right up in under the doors. But that's a lot more work, so I'm going to skim this off down the middle there, because the top half of my sills are fine. It's a lot less work. See, so what I'm saying is, like, that edge there is that edge there. Now that's a lot more work, especially because I've got to get in under there. Way too much. I can get away with cutting along there, and all that is salvageable. It's all good on both sides. So that'll make life a bit easier. But yeah, they're slightly different in the profile, but I don't think you're going to bloody notice, to be honest. Yeah, unless you get down and see it's not an exact match with the profile of the guard, but look, big deal. But yeah, so when we come to putting them on, I'll show you the videos. I'm just putting the guard back now. Probably a bit hard to see in there. I've put those rubber liners in. They went in okay. I've got a tart up in there. Same as up the front, you probably can't see. Just going to finish bolting off this guard now. Yeah, so that's pretty straightforward. I've got new bolts because I had to cut most of them. And we'll wire wheel that, tidy it all up, treat it. And that should hopefully match in with that. And by the time the headlights and all that are in, and yeah, if it comes up anything like the back did, I'll be happy. We're going to start on the passenger side sill panel. Got to cut out this, whatever part that is, of not torque box, what do they call them? Could be torque box. Anyway, that's got to be cut out and remanufactured like we did the other side. I'm glad the sills are longer, because that'll actually, I can cut here and weld along that edge. That should make my life a bit easier. We're going to cut right along there, and that's going to be our height because we've already cut there. So what I'll do is I'll run a bit of tape along. That'll give me my cutting edge, and then I've got to basically get in under there and chip away that bloody where it's all spot welded along there. And it's quite a thick panel. Yeah, very thick. You could make sort of 2 or 3 Korean cars out of this bloody Falcon. I tell you, there's that much steel in them. Anyway, let's mark it out a bit and start doing some cutting, and we'll be able to see exactly where we're at. It's like opening up a treasure chest. You never know what you're going to find. It's a bit hard to get in to cut all of it because of the arms of the hoist, but yeah, we're pretty good up in there. It's just that lower bit, but that's all good. We'll rust treat all that, but look at all this jazz. Look, all bloody dirt and shit, and oh God, but and I found, what did I find? I found something, more bloody chicken wire or whatever it is, fly wire. Someone's been trying to stuff fly wire in to do filler repairs, you know, so it holds the filler, but we won't be doing that. But yeah, we've got a little bit to do here, but that's pretty serviceable up in there, so that's good. Right-hand guard is pretty much done. That's just had the anchor wax treatment. I've done most of the patina. You can sort of make out the old Falcon badge with the bird thing or whatever. I've tried to leave that. It almost sort of makes it look like someone's pinched it, which, well, obviously they probably have. No, I've got them, but I debadged it. Not too bad down the bottom. I've started on the patina here. The thing I've got to, once the bonnet's back on, the patina has to try and match, obviously, I would imagine. So the bonnet's got to look similar to that. So when the bonnet's on, I'll do the front of the bonnet similar to that, and so on up there. I think that's the way to go. I don't know, but yeah, as I say, I hope that anchor wax, that's because that's bare metal. I'll keep my eye on it. I mean, if it starts rusting, I'll bloody put undercoat on it or something and do it again. But that sort of gives you the idea of the car. And of course, when the door's on, the patina has to match on the door as well. Obviously, where your arm rests, I'll rub that back somewhat more. So it looks like someone's had their arm there for years, but, well, they probably have. Yeah, but that's, as I say, that's sort of starting to give me the look I want. I'm just trying to avoid, as I say, I'm new to patina. Things like that, you can see the sanding marks. I'll do a little bit more work there just to get rid of the sanding marks. Yeah, there as well. Just you can sort of see where the sander was on it, but either that or drive it up a dirty road and get it all muddy, and then you won't see anything anyway. Here's the piece I made up for the internal part, guys. Just sort of cut the main rust out. I'll be able to MIG that up, I reckon. I'll probably, don't know what I'll do with that yet. Should have cut it down a little bit further. Anyway, it doesn't matter, I'll make it work. And then just got to run a weld along and then work out the final height. I screwed that up a little bit, but yeah, that's starting to come up. Yeah, weld it all up. Don't have to grind this side, it's mainly the other side where you possibly might see it. I want it to try and look factory. Still rust and shit in it, but I mean, look, where the fucking hell am I going to draw the line on it? But yeah, anyway, I mean, that's, you know, that'll get there, and once you paint it black and all that, it'll last for ages. I've left that there mainly just as a reference at this point, but that piece will have to be remanufactured. Don't know how I'll do that, but then I didn't know how I was going to do that, and I got it done. So yeah, we'll keep progressing. Continuing with the rebuilding, we'll just do the same on this side as we did on the other side. I'll cut a piece now, just roll it a bit, and that'll get us pretty close, and fabricate a piece in there. That's not going to be easy because there's 2 curves or whatever in that, but I'll bang it out, I'll do something with it, and then we can we'll have a crack at that sill panel. The way I've been doing these curves, guys, it's nothing new, but you've got to improvise, adapt, overcome. All I've been using, this is actually an old gas bottle, and I cut the arse end of it. It wasn't flammable gas, and I just clamp it down, and I've just been tapping the bit of metal over, just starting on the very edge and just moving in like that. And yeah, it's sort of given me the curve. I mean, it's only curving one way, of course, but it's given me a good start. Well, that's that side done, guys. Same thing, just curve. Just keep fitting it, grinding it and fitting it until you get it just how you want it. And it goes in, and you can just round the rest off with the grinder. We're going to start on that now. I'm not even 100% sure how to start on that. I might do a bit of flat. I don't know. I really don't know with this bit. Yeah, maybe I'd be better off putting the sill on first, and then I've got my final line. I don't know. It's Boxing Day and it's too bloody hot out here anyway. So, well, that's the passenger side sill panel on. That undercoat's still a bit wet. Little bit of filling to do there, and then that's got to be cut down and around and filled in. Once this is dried, I'll put a little bit of filler on a couple of just where the welds are. It's not too bad. It's, excuse me, I've never done one before, but once we do the black and the patina and all of that, it's going to match right in. These welds underneath, plug welds or rosette welds, whatever you call them, about 50mm each. That one needs a touch more. That should hold all right. I'll put a bit of that black sound deadener directly under there. That'll sort of hide the welds a little bit and just look slightly tidier. But yeah, she's on there. We've got to fabricate this little piece. Now that little piece is actually curved. Don't know how the hell I'm going to do that. I might just go with a bit of flat and a bit of, curve a bit that way. You don't see it because the guard actually comes down there, as you know. But not too bad. A lot of welding, bit of a pain in the ass to weld, and a lot of grinding. But you don't have to be a good welder. You've got to be a good grinder. But yeah, once we sort of patina that in and match it all in, it should be pretty right. That's the rear section of the sill done. I'll just put a little bit of filler in there just to dress it. Bit fiddly, I had to make it up out of a few pieces. Curve's not perfect, but Christ, it's near enough for this. Bit of that black tar shit in there, so on and so on and so on. You'll hardly ever know it's been repaired. So we'll move up the front now and have a go at the front bit, and then that sill's done. There we have it, guys. The passenger side sill panel's done. Yeah, I mean, look, it's a little bit wavy in that. I mean, obviously at a panel shop, they're going to filler it all and, put a bit of bog in it and tidy it right up. But bearing in mind, that's got to be patinaed. So that's actually about 50 times shinier than it's going to be. Bit of mucking about to fabricate that piece in there, but we got it. Now, you don't see it anyway. The guard actually comes down across there. Likewise at the back, as I say, you can sort of look there, you can see there's a couple of ripples. But I'm not too concerned. That come up all right. I had to do it in a few pieces, but yeah, overall, that's pretty good. Yeah, happy with that. And by the time it's patinaed and all of that, it should come up looking sort of similar to that. That's the plan anyway. So yeah, coming up pretty good. Well, see you in part 4, guys.